Welcome dear students to the next video of Introduction to Object Oriented Programming. To run the review of the last video, we have learned about the basic C++ programming structure and its basic programming concepts. We have also seen about the input-output statements in C++. The objective of the session today is to learn more C++ programming elements and to understand the syntax and semantics of C++ programming language. After this session, you may be able to apply the constructs like sequence selection and iteration. So, a basic structure of a C++ program usually goes on with the inclusion of header files, then user-defined function declaration, then main function program and user-defined function definition. Now, whatever you are observing in orange color, that is written inside a comment. That means it is an optional part which has to be written, but whatever is bold include files and main function program. These are the compulsory part of a C++ program. So, a C++ program is basically the one which is a collection of tokens, comments and white spaces. What is tokens? Tokens can be keywords, identifiers, literals, operators or separators. Now, there are actually considered to be 48 keywords in C++. Nowadays, C++ 14, C++ 17 has been coming, which have number of more keywords. All these keywords have predefined functionality and are always written in lower case. For example, if you can see, these are the 48 keywords. If you can observe, that is delete, case, constant, else, float, if, int, virtual, protected. So, while doing the programming, we are going to see one by one all these type of reserved keywords. Some of the keywords we are going to use in this. For example, to have a boolean value, we are using boolean. To have an integer value, we have int. To check the condition, we are using if keyword. To switch to any of the, or switch or jump to any of the statement, we make the use of switch keyword, and so on. Then the identifier. Now, these are actually the programmer design tokens which are having meaningful names and they are very short. Again, they can be long enough also if you want to understand in much a better way. But there are certain rules for defining the C++ identifiers. Identifiers should always be alphabets, digits or underscore. They should not start with digits. There should never be digits in starting with a for an identifier. Again, the C++ rule for an identifier is this case sensitive. For example, capital A and small a is two different variable or two different alphabets in case of identifier. An identifier can have unlimited length and can be declared anywhere in C++. Declare anywhere means before its use it can be declared anywhere. Second token is the literal, which is known as a sequence of character that represents constant value to be stored in variables. For example, integer literal can be 1, 2, 4, 56 and 0xFFFF, that is a hexadecimal integer literal. These are some of the constant values or constant literals. Floating point literals can be 4.67, 3.14, that is the value which are decimal values are floating point literals. Then character literals are the one which are written in single inverted comma like A and B as shown, and the string literals are written in double inverted comma, which is ABC total as shown in the example. These symbol literals are actually known as symbolic constants. So, when you are using a constant classifier, I have to use example like const int size is equal to 10. That means size will have the value 10 throughout the entire scope of the program. It cannot be changed since it is a constant qualifier. In contrast to this, if I am writing int size is equal to 10, then I can change the value of size anywhere in the program from 10 to 20 also. But a constant qualifier once declared as a value will be constant throughout the entire program. Next keyword which we are seeing, that is enum keyword. So if I am defining enum x, y, z, it is actually a constant variable. It is a symbolic constant where I am defining x will be having a value 0, y will be having a value 1 and z will be having a value 2. So this is actually the enum keyword which defines constant value. Here it is y is equal to 0, but dear students, again refine this, that x is going to have a value 0, y is going to have a value 1 and z is going to have a constant value 2 throughout the entire scope of the program. Now there are operators which are also known as the tokens, and they are the operators like one which is having more than one operands, and operators are used to produce a result. For example, there can be arithmetic operators like plus, minus, into, divide, modulus. Then can be relational operators like less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than, equal to, and so on. Then we can see that logical operators like and, or, not, these are all considered to be logical operators. Assignment is given as is equal to. Then we have increment, decrement operators like plus, plus, minus, minus, conditional operator, that is question mark, colon, scope resolution operator with 2 colons, and special operators like new, delete, endl, setw. Endl is these are all considered to be the manipulators. Now there are some separators also, that is these are the actually symbols which is used to indicate where the group of codes are divided and arranged. So parentheses are the one which are used for methods and functions or for precedence in an expression. Curly brackets, that is also known as braces, are basically given for the block of codes or the scope. You have a semicolon as a separator which separates a statement. You have comma which separate multiple identifiers or more than one statement can be chained using a comma. Dot, that is a period, can be used for data members or member functions. Then you have square brackets which are used for array referencing and dereferencing. So n number of separators are used differently for different purposes in C++. Now all of you know about what is a variable. Variable is the one whose value is changing. Since its name is variable, means the one whose value is changing. Variable is termed to be an identifier whose value is changing. So consider that if you have 4 folders on the desktop like music, video, files, multimedia. So what you can do, you can save files of guitar, all the files in the music folder. Similarly, video can be stored into the video folder, and document, if it is there, can be stored in files folder. But before saving, you save one copy of that file in the multimedia folder. So there are 4 different folders. All the music folder will have all the music files, video folder will have all the video files, then files folder will have all the documents, and a combination and or make one copy of all can be stored into multimedia. So what happens, it becomes very easy to designate. Now suppose if you want to find a music file in multimedia folder or music folder, what you will do, finding a music file is very easy in music folder instead of finding a music file into a multimedia. That is why generally we have what we can make the use of a variable. When we want to make the variables, we can relate this folder in case of variables in C. Like we can name the folder anything, the same way we can name our variables anything. But there are some rules for variables. Variables are defined as a data item that may take one or more value during the runtime of a program. That means it can change its value at the time of execution of the program. But whenever you are making the use of a variable, it has to be of a specified data type. For example, there are some rules for making the variables. Only alphabetic characters like have to be used, like integer ABC, char, demo. Digits like integer A1, char B2 and underscore is also permitted, but it should not start with a digit. Like in INT, 1A is not permitted. It has to start with integer A1. Underscore is permitted like int sub underscore 1, float ring underscore 1 to 3 4. So this is permissible. These are the rules for making the variable. So whenever we are making a variable, it should be a data type followed by the variable name, and it should be equating to a value. However, assigning a value to the variable is not necessary. You may or may not assign the value. So for example, the syntax, you have type, then variable is equal to value. So type can be any of the data type like int, double, float. So here I am taking double, then variable name is given as num is equal to, and the value given to that variable num is 5. So this is the way you declare a variable. So global scope is given to a variable which is declared at every stage, and these are available at all times from anywhere. Now global variable are the ones which are created at the start of the program and last until the end of the program, taking up lots of memory. Now we have talked about variables. The second term comes, that is constant. So variable is the one which can change the value at any point of the program, but constant variables are the one which is once declared cannot be changed throughout the program. Constant variables also, it is necessary that it should always be initialized when it is declared. Like for example, as we have seen in the last slides, that if you have double sum is equal to 5, if you don't write double sum and don't assign a value is equal to it, that is also fine. You have to just write double sum semicolon, that will work for a variable. But if it is a constant value, you should have to give a value to that particular constant, like constant float sum is equal to 5. It is compulsory that you have to write is equal to 5 or is equal to and certain value. So here in the similar manner, it is said that constant variables must be initialized when it is declared. That means it should be assigned a value at the time of its declaration. Now we are going to switch towards the data types. So data types are actually the means to identify the type of data and which operations you are handling with that type of data. When variables are actually declared of a particular data type, then the variable becomes the place where the data is stored, and the data type is the type of the value stored by that variable. So you can have n number of data types like character, integer, float, double, char, boolean. So a programming language always provides different data types. So there are data types like fundamental data types, user defined data types, and derived data types. Throughout we are going to see that what is fundamental data type, derived data type, and user defined data type. Today we will see about the fundamental data types, that is integer, character, float, double, void, and boolean, as well as string. These are the fundamental data types. Dear students, remember that fundamental data types are those that are not composed of other data types. That means they are not made from any other data types. They are their own, and they do not take the help of other data types to build themselves. Okay, so these are all the data types. Out of that, we are going to see about certain data types, that is int, float, double, char, bool. Now what is 4 bytes, 4 bytes, 8 bytes is written? This is meaning that is if you declare an integer variable like int a, this a is going to take a space inside the memory, and how much space it is going to take? It takes a space of 4 bytes. Now this depends upon the compiler. If your compiler shows previously the compilers which was 32-bit and 16-bit, they were storing only integer of 2 bytes. Now an integer number of 4 bytes is saved inside the 64-bit 64-bit machines. So int can have 4 bytes, float number can take up the space of 4 bytes, double number can take a space of 8 bytes. Character, when you declare a character, it takes only 1 byte inside the memory, and a boolean also takes only 1 byte inside the memory. Now int is the one which shows all the kinds of integers. It is specifically designed for integer data types or integer values like 12, 12 or 873 or 456 and so on. Minus 456 also comes under integer. Float, double are actually used for storing the floating point numbers, that is our decimals, like 4.5, 12.3 and so on. Char are the one which shows the single letters, and like in single inverted comma, as we are seeing here, G and small g, these are so to be char. String is actually a collection of characters which are written in double quotes. Then we have bool, where boolean is considered to be true, having two values, true or false, and this takes 1 byte inside the memory. So how much space it is taking? Integer taking 4 bytes inside the memory, float is taking 4 bytes, double is taking 8 bytes, char takes 1 byte and boolean takes 1 byte inside the memory. So when integer data type is there, we have this entire thing in a much more detail, that integer is actually the whole numbers, and there are actually 3 classes of integer in C, like short int, int and long int, which have signed and unsigned forms. A short int actually requires half the space that a normal integer value has, and unsigned numbers are always positive and they consume all the bits for the magnitude of a number. The long and unsigned integers are used to declare a longer range of values than 2 bytes. Okay, so integer data type depends upon the compiler. It can be 2 bytes or 4 bytes. Okay, as I already said that 16-bit or 32-bit machines take 2 bytes, whereas 64-bit machines nowadays take 4 bytes to store an integer variable. Float data type is having 4 bytes. The number which is having a fractional part is actually known as a floating point number, and when you declare an identifier as a float, then it represents actually the real numbers, and these actually represent a much greater range of values. The only disadvantage here is their operations are usually slower in case of float data type variables. Then you have double data type, which is also used for handling the floating point numbers, but it occupies twice as much memory as the type float, and it is slower than type float. Next is the boolean data type, which is representing a boolean value. It is having 2 integer value associated with it, that is 1 or 0, or it can have a literal value true or false. So these are the data types. Now we will see these data types through an example. Now consider the program where I am writing. We will go with the program. Open the